In this class I want to talk about service markets. Service marketing is the process of selling a service. Services are intangible. They don't have a physical form. Tangible products have a physical form. They may be touched and owned. So immediately we have a distinction between the physical and the non-physical. The non-physical, the service. The physical, the day-to-day items we purchase that we can touch and feel and pick up and experience through our senses. So we have two types of product, and we're going to deal here with the intangible. A service is an experience. It's provided to customers and is consumed as it is purchased. We consume the service as we purchase it. For example, going to an accountant or going to the cinema or going to a restaurant. We purchase a cinema ticket, we experience the film, and we leave. There is nothing physical. We don't take something away at the end. We don't take part of the film away. It is a service. Pure services are very rare. Most products purchased contain a combination of goods and services and are put together for the end customer. For example, in a restaurant, the food is a physical item. It may be tasted, it may be touched. The service, which is the atmosphere of the restaurant, the experience of going there, the customer service, the speed of the service, the friendliness of the place, the service comes with that. So going to a restaurant is like a hybrid good. It has a physical component and a service component. And both parts, in that case, are important. Services have distinctive characters which separate them from tangible products. These are intangibility, inseparability, variability, perishability, and ownership. So it's these characters that separate the services from physical products. And we want to talk about these in a little bit more detail in the remainder of this session, the remaining part of this session. We'll start with intangibility. Unlike a product, it does not have a physical presence. So services do not have physical presence. They can't be touched, held, or tasted. They're not amenable to our senses. We can't experience them through our senses. Services cannot be assessed or examined before purchase. Customers receive benefits after the purchase. So before the purchase, we don't know what the service will be. We can only assess it afterwards. Before the service, we may look for recommendations and reviews of the service and testimonials and so on. But despite all of that, we can't examine the service itself until after it has been delivered. And also, services are hard to measure. It's difficult to measure the quality of the service compared to physical products. Physical products may have dimensions. They may be measurable. We may be able to weigh them or assess them for color or texture or the dimensions. We may be able to measure their length and their breadth. With services, that's not possible. It's a very vague feeling we get about the service. And we can only compare services to previous experiences. That's our benchmark. If we go to a restaurant and we received a good service, in our estimation, and we go again, we have a benchmark. We think, yes, we've been here before, the service was excellent, we have a benchmark. So we can compare the service with previous experiences. Although it has to be said that that is not a precise science, it's not a precise comparison. It is subject to interpretation. Inseparability. A service is said to be inseparable from the service provider. Well, it's the service provider who provides the service. So you can't have a service without a service provider. The words even suggest it. Producers and consumers have to work together to receive the benefits of the service offered. So it's a two-way thing. The service provider offers the service and the consumers receive the service. And it's only when the consumers have received the service that it has been delivered. Sometimes the words when we describe this seem to be, we're using synonyms. We're using the same words just to describe it in a different way. But inseparability means that the service provider and the service cannot be parted. For example, a medical doctor needs the cooperation of the patient in order to make a diagnosis. So the two have to cooperate for the diagnosis to be successful. Perishability, which means will it become bad over time? Will it perish over time? Unlike tangible goods, services cannot be stored and reused. Services cannot be stored up. Physical goods can be stored up. They may be produced now and consumed later. But services can't be. Services are provided at the instant at which they are used. Services are consumed as soon as they are purchased. For example, making a journey by air will only last for the duration of the journey. That's when the service is being delivered, whilst the people are on the plane. The spare seats on the plane cannot be stored for use later. If the plane was half empty, then the airline owner can't say, well, we'll use those seats later, because that service has now been delivered. Sorry, I've skipped backwards. Sorry, where have we got to? Ownership. Sorry. With ownership, services cannot be owned or stored by a customer. Services come with a time period. They can either be used or hired. For example, an accountant's time. So they can't be owned or stored by a customer. They are related to a period of time, and they are either used or hired in that period of time. So the accountant offers his or her service at a particular time period, and that is what is being purchased, that time period. Physical goods can be acquired and owned. However, with services, no ownership is transferred from the buyer to the seller. So, go back to the accountant example. If an accountant is engaged to do a set of accounts for a particular time period, say for one day, it doesn't mean that the person who is the purchaser has bought the accountant. They have bought the services of the accountant for that time period. They haven't bought the accountant, they've bought the services of the accountant. Variability. This means that every service experience experience is likely to be different. I mentioned earlier, if you go to a restaurant and have a good experience, it becomes like a benchmark. You think, I'll go back to the restaurant because I've had a good experience. But the experience will vary. It varies every time. We're dealing here with people who deliver a service. And people are variable, and situations are variable. So we can't expect the same standard of service all the time. Service experience may be influenced by factors such as interaction between customers and other customers, service staff, the time, the location, the operating procedure. There are many factors that may influence service quality and our perception of service. So it's unlikely we're going to get exactly the same experience over and over and over again. We will get an experience, and all the experiences may be good, but there will be different, chances are. Okay, that's all I want to say on service markets and marketing services. So let's leave it at that for now. So thank you for watching.